work or not?
Why wouldn't it work? I mean, why would we have a problem with video?
I told you it's because the demons in my machine are out to get us.
Have you thought about calling, I don't know, who do you call for that? Who do you call for an exorcism of your PC?
Um, that's a good question because I mean, technically you're not technically it's like tech and magic aren't supposed to work well together. So
Right.
you'd have to find someone who is well versed in both. So,
The Vexorcist. Call a tech priest.
a technomancer.
The power of C prompt compels you.
Wow.
Love it. I love it. The
Wow.
nerds. The nerds have entered the chat.
Oh, the
But
nerd
I love
entry.
this. I love this.
I mean,
That is
I
awesome.
looked at that and I was like, wait, it's like, oh no, I just got it. I'm a terrible person for getting it. Because back when I was in college, like freshman year, they hadn't done a bunch of they hadn't built all the new buildings that are on campus now.
Right.
And for anyone who had an intro to programming class for what they had COBOL, they had C++,
Of course.
they had Fortran. And because I was an engineering student, I had to do Fortran. Um, and you had to go to the VAX lab to do your programming. It was also where you could go to send email. And I remember like thinking it was the coolest thing ever because I could go and send email from my very own .edu email account. So yeah, clearly the allure has worn off. Email is not so awesome 24 years later.
Email kind of sucks now.
Yeah.
Intro to programming. I can program a little. I hate it so much. Ah, that's terrible. Love programming. Terry is hiding from work. Actually, he's not hiding from work.
They're hiding.
Terry is currently sick.
Yep.
And he's behind. So
Mm-hmm.
he's decided to knuckle down and ignore us, which I understand.
Yes.
Doesn't mean I'm not going to give him shit for it, but
Oh no.
I understand.
No.
Yeah. So you get your first EDU mail account in mid-87. Yikes.
Wow.
Holy
Do you want to
shit.
know where I was in 87 or are we not allowed to play the age jokes yet?
I was still rating BBSs in 1987.
I was in let's see 87. In 87 I started second grade at the parochial school and was stuck wearing really ugly butter yellow like Peter Pan blouses with brown plaid jumpers and brown knee socks and brown shoes. Yeah, it was that bad.
Howdy, folks, and welcome to another episode of the Dead Robot Society. I am Paul E. Cooley. Joining me is Veronica Jaguar. Terry Mixon is currently on walkabout, so we will do our best to ignore his presence or lack thereof. But
Yeah, if you're drinking for cats for this show, this will probably be a near sober experience. Mine have
a
abandoned me.
near sober
Near
experience.
sober. We can't promise complete sobriety if that is your DRS podcast game of choice,
But anyway, V, what the hell has been going on with you?
oh goodness, I've got a house full of sick people. It's great. Came back. So we're on vacation. We went on a cruise to celebrate graduations for my two older kids, and they were social butterflies. And they met friends, and the oldest went to the bars and all these lovely things. And the kids had a room together, and my husband and I had a room together. We got back. I want to say Monday, the mighty Ginger did not feel so well. And by Tuesday, he was like laid up, sick. We're shoving all kinds of over the counter meds at him, and he's just miserable. I start to feel kind of but not horrible. By Wednesday, he's gone to urgent care and he's got a fistful of medication. No swabs, so we're just treating this as a horrible cold. Wednesday afternoon, we take my daughter to urgent care because she's not feeling well. They do swab her, and she tests positive for COVID. This is I think the second time she's had it, and so she's had her shots. We don't think it's going to be horrible. They don't give a shit for it. And I am mad because I'm a mom. And if my baby is sick, I want her to feel better. I'm like, oh, no, it's treated over the counter. 2 days later, she's miserable. So we went back to urgent care today. Another one saw the same PA that the Mighty Ginger did. And we now have steroids and inhalers and all other sorts of good things to help her feel better. And I'm currently still mainlining coffee and water because mine's not awful enough for medication, but I have to record tomorrow. Oh, and the oldest has COVID, but he walked in and they gave him Paxlovid immediately, and he'll be back to work tomorrow. So I'm a little pissed at the gender bias in the healthcare system right now, and the fact that I saw it, and then the two receptionists, when I brought my daughter back in, they were like, the other PA did what? Oh, baby girl, we're going to take care of you right now. So they got a nasty gram. The urgent care got a nasty gram from me this morning. Like, we'd like to contact you afterwards. Don't contact me. Just fix your shit. So that's been my week. Oh, and I've written stuff. I've actually the short story that I'm working on for the Dirty Magic anthology. I have 1,506 words typed into my Google Doc for it. And then I have 1, 2, 3, almost 4 additional handwritten pages. So that's probably another 1,100 words.
Nice.
So the limit is, I think Charlie said the limit was 10,000 words. So I'm trying to stick to 8,000. And so you don't necessarily have to be part of a risk group to get Paxlovid. The oldest, he's not part of a risk group. And there's no comorbidities that would have said that any of us couldn't have it. I think I'm the only one that they might question because of some of the medications I take, but nobody else has standing scripts. And I was pissed off this morning. I yelled on Facebook. I felt better, as any suburban Caucasian mother would do. But yeah, I wasn't quite throwing my Karen card, but it was.
I was going to say, did you go full Karen?
I did not have to go full Karen. I was totally prepared to go full Karen. I joke that those are the days where I turn into my mother. And I don't think anybody in my family tunes into the show. But if you have to go full Scooby is my mother's name. If you have to go full Scooby, you've gone way too far because it's aggressive. But I know it's somewhere in me. How are you? How's your week been?
It's been pretty. It's been a lot less dramatic than yours. But Monday I had to take my old people to the DMV, and that was fun.
Was it like sloths in Zootopia at the DMV?
Well, okay, so it was all a mess and horrible. But then I get my mom up there with the correct forms and everything else, and we go through the whole deal. It takes 15 minutes for this guy to type everything in. Meanwhile, I have to translate for my mom, who can't fucking hear. The guy who can't fucking hear is translating for the woman who can't fucking hear. So finally, get done with that, and the guy says, stand up in front of the blue screen and I'll take your picture. So mom gets up from the chair, backs up to the screen, and turns around and faces the screen. And you're going to give this woman a fucking driver's license. What is wrong with you?
Mother, I should not be laughing, but that's like, if there's a checklist of behaviors that where you have to stop and not do things, that might be one of them.
I mean, the funny part is when Dad went up there, they asked him a bunch of questions to make sure he was capable of driving. They didn't ask my mom shit, and I'm sitting there thinking, the one person in this room who does not never needs to be behind the wheel again is in front of you, buddy. It's in front of you right now. So anyway, they gave her her license anyway. So that was pretty much the funniest thing that happened this week.
I mean, that's almost like you send that anonymous, letter. It's like, so you might want. I'm questioning your processes here because do you realize what you just did? Is anybody monitoring this service?
Fortunately, she doesn't even have car keys. I don't think she even understands that she has no car keys. But that's okay. That's our conversation for another time.
Oh my Lord.
So I spent the week working on Extinction. I guess I'm about 70,000 words in to the edits and rewrites, and I've got a bunch of scenes. In fact, I'm working on one right now to try and tie something up. And there are some other scenes I'm not ready to write yet, but I know what has to happen in them. So I'm having to go back and fill in some stuff for Shauna and some stuff for Catfish and some stuff for the animals. But there's also this other stuff that I need to weave in. I can't talk. I can only talk in very, very general terms because I don't want to ruin anything.
So is this you have to weave in lore that is important as the series progresses?
There's lore and then there's fun. I have to add
you have to leave the breadcrumbs
fun
in there. You have to leave in the sprinkles that lead all the way to the huge.
Well, we got to spend some time with people other than the main characters because the main characters haven't exactly come in contact with their buddies yet. So the buddies need to get some screen time. There's lore and then there's Data. Rick, you're fired.
No, I saw that. Like,
The fact that we got that means we're fired too. I mean, can we be nerding out?
It's Brent Spiner. How do you not love that man?
That's just
and he can sing. He sings so well. Oh, so well.
I know, it's scary. So I'm going to continue working on Extinction, get some of these pieces written, and then get back into hopefully starting to sketch out the nasty that I got to do. I'm finding more things that I've forgotten I wrote.
Wait, do you mean the nasty or the nasty?
The nasty. This is an M2 book. Come on.
Oh, fair enough question.
I found some spots where I thought I would have to write something, but I'd already written it, and I couldn't remember writing it. Yeah. So because I think I wrote portions of this over a year and a half ago, and haven't really looked at it since then. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm beating this book into shape slowly but surely, and working on trying to add a few more things. And I'm going to have to look at the pacing here and there, but I'm still enjoying the book, so that's a good sign. Oceania is with the beta readers. One of them got back to me, found something that was embarrassing. I fixed it, but it was the only thing they found. It was really just a repeated phrase.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it was just 2 pages later, so I wiped it. Came up with something better anyway. I'm waiting to see what the other betas find. I almost said betas. The other betas find.
Enunciation is important.
Enunciation is very important, apparently. But I think Oceania is in really good shape. I just need to get Extinction into good shape, and probably while I'm doing Extinction, I'll jump over into Neptune Scars every now and then, like edit a chapter. And I still haven't decided what I'm doing with the audiobooks.
As in, are you going to...
I'm about to get yelled at. I'm about to get yelled at.
Well, no. So you haven't decided if you're going to look for another narrator? You haven't decided if you're going to do stuff on your own? You haven't decided... Okay.
So yeah, I'm still entertaining this stupid because that would be what Evolution's 91K, Oceania is 98. Extinction's going to be somewhere in the 150s probably. That's a
So
lot.
it is. It is. But I met a handful of really, really lovely, capable, and talented guy narrators at the last conference I was at, who have that good like baritone um, timbre. And if you, I mean, if you're able to put out feelers, I mean, if your contract says you have to stick with Pink Flamingo, I get that. No,
I don't know.
I would be happy to make introductions to see if they'd be available. Um,
Well, there's a financial component that's a problem for this.
Narrators are always happy to negotiate.
Yeah, the broke house is broke.
Okay.
The sad part, the really crazy part of this is that Evolution hopefully will bring in enough money that I can afford to do that. But right now,
Okay.
it's gotta somehow manage it, and not an Ancient Trap not having an audiobook out is hurting it. It's hurting me. I got to
Hmm.
finish that puppy too. So there's a lot of things that have got to happen before I can even think about doing the Black series. But I mean, I'm just not really sure what else to do. It's something we can talk about in After Dark and offline,
Hmm.
obviously, but it still irks me. The whole situation irks me. But that notwithstanding, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk
No, we are
about
not.
here to talk about those horrible things called conventions.
That's right. Well, there's when people say cons, it could be conventions and it can be conferences.
Oh, it's true. This is true.
And it's depending upon what you want to, I guess your purposes for going to them, you need to be prepared. I know that I've got a prep for Vegas coming up, and then I may have some other one. I know you're shaking, Ricks. I saw that in the chat. I see you, chat.
Don't give him any. Don't
No,
smile. No, no. Don't give him any credit for that. Keep going.
mm-mm. But I also found a relatively local romance one to go to. I think in Fort Lauderdale in September, um, to meet, and the purpose for that would be to meet authors and try to drum for myself. But they're two, knowing where I'm going and preparing for it, because it's two different audiences,
Hmm.
and it requires a whole bunch of preparation. Preparing what? No.
Sorry, there's a lot of rolling thunder going on over my head.
Oh, possums
If
on
I
the roof.
blip out of
Got it.
existence, it might be because the stroke of lightning got too close. But anyway, continue.
But it's something that always comes up because we'll see stuff in the Discord. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to this conference, or I'm going to this convention, and I'm going to have a table,
Mhm.
or I'm going to meet other authors, or we've bumped into people at 20 Books Vegas now. I wish I didn't read so quickly, because then my eyes dart over to chat and I'm like, holy crap, why? And then I'm derailed. It's, ugh. Oh my
Are you
gosh.
going there to meet other writers? Are you going there to meet the public? Are you going there to learn?
Right. Exactly. What is if you go in with multiple roles, so maybe you're an author, but you also run a short fiction magazine, and you're trying to get people to submit short stories or pieces for it. Um, Maybe you offer a service to authors like I do. Am I going there as an author? Am I going there as a narrator? Or am I going as both? And how do I, plan for it? And it's thinking, what do I have to get? What do I have to budget for? Do I need
That's
to get
another one.
swag? And what kind of swag works?
I want to go into writing cons, but could I even cosplay?
Depending upon the con, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, at
Really, Antoine? I do not have an OnlyFans.
so
Brett, you live in such an interesting world. I encourage cosplay even if
no,
you are going to the grocery. Love it.
I cosplay as a responsible adult whenever I go out. Sometimes it even works. But like last year I brought what did I bring? I had buttons. I got little like pins. And some of them worked. And some of them the text was so small people couldn't read them. I'm like, oh great. How am I gonna
Mm.
use these again? So, and I also learned you don't put it in your carry-on luggage because they have to undo the bags of pins.
Yes.
Learned that. Yeah. TSA did not like it. Aw,
You
Rick has
froze
those
on me
pins.
again.
Yeah, they. Sorry, you've got the thunder. I've got unreliable connections. It's
And
fantastic.
life rolls on. Life rolls on.
Yeah.
Jared says what
So
to prep for. I've got several things you should prep for.
okay.
In my humble, no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're doing,
Okay.
pick your favorite work of yours.
Mm.
Get your elevator pitch down. You need to have your elevator pitch. You're going to be talking to authors. Presumably, you can even talking to small presses or whatever else. Have that pitch for what that is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my elevator pitch for The Black is John Carpenter's The Thing meets The Blob meets Alien on an oil rig in 30,000 feet of water. Boom. That's it. That's the elevator pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And it works. You need to get something snappy like that where it can be one or two sentences that basically describes everything that you want to get across in that book.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you got to get down for at least one of your books or maybe your series, right? Have a couple of sentences that describes that. It's kind of important.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds dumb, but it's really not, because you meet these people and they're going to ask you what you write.
Yeah.
Now you have an answer for that without stumbling, bumbling, and going way overboard. It just makes life easier. Second thing, always bring a pack, a backpack, a knapsack, something, because you're going to get
Yes.
swag.
And you
some of
don't
that
want to
swag-
rely on the swag bag they give you because everyone has one, and so you will lose yours. And two, it's not necessarily going to hold everything that you want. So it's a cute souvenir, but
After a
bring
couple of days, it starts to fall apart.
yeah.
So it's good to do that. Plus, it also helps if you have another container just for business cards, so you don't
Mm-hmm.
lose them, so they don't get screwed up in where they fit and everything else. Those business cards are going to be people you probably need to network with, otherwise you wouldn't have their business card.
No.
So there are folks that you probably want to talk to because there's something they said that was interesting. You want to check out their work. Maybe they wanted to check out yours. Just basically keep that. If you got the business card, it's a person who probably wants to hear from you or talk to you, is interested in you becoming a fan or a reader. But regardless, basically you need to have those contacts.
Yep.
Rick says he keeps a
And
massive
the
gold clip
side
for collected business cards.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, however, if you have goldfish memory, like I do sometimes, and you wind up chatting with so many people that stuff kind of like blurs together, then either write stuff down on the card or, yeah, there's that, or get like a little moleskin notebook and write stuff down on it. So write the person's name, write what they do. Don't try to be cute and make a note with like some abbreviation. You will forget.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, you will forget. If someone tells, like, if they give an email address or a website, if it's not on the card, or if they have like a social media handle, write it down.
Yeah.
And if you are at a conference for multiple days, give yourself time, like either during a lunch break or at the end of the day before you go to dinner, whatever, sit down and recap. Because some conversations that may have seemed really important at the time weren't really. And then others were like, holy crap, I need to follow up with this person. I just realized what they were saying.
And the other thing is when you get back to your hotel room, you can send emails or, do whatever you need to do, add them on social media, whatnot.
Yeah.
But you need to kind of keep up with that. I'm terrible about it. Awful. Horrible. That's
I'm
probably why I don't know
I've
anybody.
yeah, I've gotten better with it, but I often forget what people tell me. And I'll get a card and I'm like, why did I have this card? I know we had a conversation. Why do I have this card? So my kind of like level up strategies, I'm still going to have the notebook, and I will straight up tell people, I'm sorry, I'm in my mid 40s. I have no short-term memory. Let me write this down. And consider if I'm talking with a bunch of similarly aged women, they will get it. I will be remembered for pointing out the elephant in the room, and we will get along famously.
And all the others will remember you because of the red dress.
Yeah, well, and that's another thing. Like if you're going to meet with people, have something about you in a positive that makes you memorable, and have it be on brand. So I have a red dress. It was an accident. I've told the story. It was an accident at my first con, and since then, I have a bunch of red in my wardrobe, and I'm lucky it looks good on me. So I make sure that when I go to conventions, I'm almost all, if I'm out and like if I'm on stage, I'm wearing red. And
You're right. Your legs would look terrible in that. It doesn't work for all of us. The red
my legs are
thing.
atrocious. What are you talking about? But anyway, it's never about the legs. It's up here. Anyway, or corsets, like Rick said. But some people have, they have a set of t-shirts they always wear. Mm-hmm. Some people have a great hat, or they have a vest, or they have really interesting jewelry that fits with their theme. Pick something and go with it. I don't know if Terry owns any t-shirts that don't have cats on them. I'm really not sure.
Like maybe one.
Yeah. But every convention, he's got it's usually jeans and a cat themed t-shirt.
Yep.
And he's the cat guy who writes sci-fi.
Yeah, that pretty much describes him.
Yeah.
So Matt says, so I need to go out and buy something in rubber, leather, or barbed wire, huh? That might work. JR says he tried the red dress and people called the cops on him.
Then it just wasn't fitted right. You need to find a better tailor.
Brett did say record every conversation and just simply play it all back when needed. You kind of need to get consent for that.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Depending on what state you're in especially. But if you can record those conversations, yeah, it is helpful. I thought it was really funny when I get interviews at cons where I would do an interview with somebody real quick in the hallway or whatever, the kinds of things that folks say, and you just are like, man, I don't want to forget that. I'm glad I have it on tape. So occasionally it's pretty good. Nate asks, do they have beer tents? That's all I need to know. Dude, the one we go to, and I haven't been to, but once is in Vegas. They have more than beer tents. You can just basically walk outside the bar, get something, and bring it back in. Nobody cares.
Yep.
Don't men have tailors and women have seamstresses?
Get you someone who can fix your clothes and make you look good. Okay? That's all that matters.
Chris says Texas is just a one-party needs to know state. Yeah, that may be true, but there's no point in being a rude bastard if you don't have to be. And you don't really have to be. It's just consent is sexy.
Yeah. Plus, if you're having the conversation with somebody, it's like, hey, give me a second, let me write this down. Sometimes that will trigger them to write down or ask for your information.
Yeah.
So that can be a really good thing. I love the idea of having an elevator pitch. Another good thing is be prepared to talk about your favorite new, like if you're going to an indie author thing, talk about your favorite new indie author read who is not you. because sometimes it's easier to say, oh, I just read this really good book. It's by this author. I really love what they did. It's the second in their series. The first one was great. But have something else that doesn't necessarily focus on you as, something to fill in the conversation. And then you go, oh, well, what have you read? What would you recommend? Corollary to that, if you are attending these with someone else, it's always easier to talk up somebody else than yourself. Always. Especially for those of us with imposter syndrome. So
if you go with Terry, basically Terry will just pick you up and throw you at people.
yes, he will. And you kind of go, oh, hi. Yeah,
Hi,
I've had
Terry
that happen.
told me to come talk to you. I have no idea why I'm doing this because I don't feel like I should be talking to you because I don't belong here.
Yeah, he does that a lot. But it's a good skill to have. Another good thing about going to conferences or conventions, especially if it's a situation where you're going to have like a table. So if it's like maybe a book convention and you're not just interacting with other authors, but with potential readers, having somebody else there with you, it means that somebody can watch the table while you go get water or coffee, while you go to the bathroom, while you take 5 minutes to run away from the crowds, take a deep breath, and check your phone.
Yes.
It means that you're not leaving your stuff unattended.
Yes. I agree with that. It's always good to have a comm buddy as per booth. That's always, oh God, having a booth sucks. It really sucks.
And I mean, I've never been to 20 books without a table because I just thought, well, of course, why wouldn't I have a table? And now ask me about having tables and what do you do? And I'm like, this. But I wind up bringing the Mighty Ginger. Mm-hmm. And what that does, having somebody else there, even if having someone else there to help, what it does for me is it allows me to offload a lot of that executive planning function thing to them so that I can focus on, chatting with people who stop by the table and keeping stuff organized. It's like, oh, great, somebody brought me coffee. Oh, somebody brought me ginger ale. Oh, lunch, I forgot about that. Or, oh, that's right, I probably should go to the bathroom. Do that. Oh, we're done? Oh, okay, we can start packing up now. So it's helpful. And Brett, I would not necessarily call him
the Mighty Ginger your booth, bitch?
No, he is there. He is the Mighty Ginger. To the point where I'm pretty sure anyone who goes to Vegas just knows him as the Mighty Ginger.
Probably.
Yeah.
Rick says he has a whole storage box with table, skirt, book stands, POS, and other essential exhibits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a bag that has, what did I do? I have a table runner, so I didn't go for like a full tablecloth, but I have a red tablecloth branding. I've got a table runner. I got a little stand up, like a sign, so it rolls up and down. Mm-hmm. I don't have a full one because the rules said at one point you couldn't have full standing signs. One of the hacks for that, a cheap way to do it, is some of the stores like Walgreens and CVS, if they have a photo thing, you can get a growth chart because the growth charts are usually long, and then you just make the design yourself and you get it printed on that.
Interesting.
Yeah, there are a whole bunch of different ways. I used someone I found on Etsy to do my stuff, and it was very affordable. And then over the years, I've added other swag things based on what people will take. Like I have stickers because I like stickers, but they're light They are cheap. People can take them, and I have some that function as business cards.
Gotcha.
I've got others that are just like more author based, but it's so that someone can grab it. And it's like, ooh, this is a fun little thing. Come to the table, because people love free shit.
Yes, they do.
And if they like free shit and they walk by and they go, oh, wait, you do what? Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those funny things where you may have a book sitting out there, and it may be the only book of that type that you write, and that's the one somebody's going to want to talk to you about, which is really always very, very interesting.
Yep.
So having elevator pitches for all your series is probably a good thing, especially if you're at the booth and you're dealing with the public. It's actually going to work faster if you do that than they read the back of the blurb or
Yep.
read the back of the book for the blurb. So
And this
in
is
other
where,
words, having that together is really, really helpful.
yeah. And having a good book cover is where the conventions and conferences, that's where it stands out. So if you have something that has your book covers, so if you blow that up
Mm-hmm.
and have it on your table for someone to see, I've walked by conferences, and just because I know what a cover looks like for a certain genre, I know it's like, yep, that's the one for my daughter. I know she will read that because it fits what she usually reads. And I grabbed it. I said, like, oh, cover's cool. Read the back. Confirms what I saw on the cover. Yep, I want that right now. It's super easy, and it looks shiny. And your goal is to make your space look shiny so people stop.
Terry and I managed to get, I think for the like $100, maybe they were less than that. We managed to get our, the stand-up thingies with the post and everything else. Basically, unroll the poster and
Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
that worked pretty well at the cons we were at. If I was going to do that again, though, I'd probably do it for multiple books rather than just one
Yes.
series.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
considering the black is the big monster, literally in my fiction, it kind of made sense to have that up front.
Yeah.
So that's what I
mean,
did.
yeah, if you've got one title or series that really defines what you do and it looks good, roll with it. Yes,
Yeah,
Brett, we
pretty
are
much.
saying judge the book by its cover. Use the big shiny to draw in people.
She's not saying she
Exactly.
does that. She's looking at the cover going, I think that's
Yeah, I just
something
said
my
I did
child
that.
would
That's how
like.
I got the. Yeah, but there's certain things that if it matches the genre, and that's what people are looking for. So there's that.
The cover gets you the click, the blurb gets you the buy.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I think that's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah. And something else I would say, because there are plenty of people who are like, oh well, I don't want the actual print book. I want it on my e-reader. Have QR codes for these books so people can, click and buy. The easier you make it for them to spend their money, they will spend money on your stuff.
Yeah, if when I do business cards again for the black, if I do them similar to what I had before, I would definitely have QR codes on there for the series to take you to the Amazon page just where the series is, and here are all the books. Bang, you can see them all and buy them. So I think that's definitely a better way to do it, especially for ebooks, because people are like, well, how do I get the ebook? Well, go to Amazon, look me up.
Yeah.
Be better by the QR code.
Yep.
Rick says he sold more by QR code than physical books last year at 20 Books Rave. Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing if you have audiobooks. Have a QR code that points to the audiobook. If you have codes, have something that you can give someone to hand out, or better yet, have them, have a distribution system that makes it easy.
For God's sake, have some way for them to find your website.
Yep.
And
you talk about prep. At least the week before, go to your site, click through everything. Make sure there's something current on it. Make sure, if you're using social media, make sure that there's a recent post or two. If you can, schedule something to show up on your social media during that time. Because yeah, some of us will, take the booth selfie and go, hey, look, I'm here at booth, 124 in Vegas. Come by and see me from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Or you may forget because the minute the doors open, there's a stampede and you didn't realize that, oh, all these people wanted to talk to you. Shit. Ask me how I know. So having that planned helps, and having stuff scheduled helps. But that's some of the prep. And then if you have a newsletter, have a link. Excuse you. Excuse you. Well, then come in here. Nobody's seen a cat yet. I'm sorry, there's a striped animal that's meowing at me from behind the curtain. Oh, look, there he is. There you go. There's... Y'all have a chunky cat. Terry's not here, but Clyde is going to fill in. Aren't you, buddy? So, have an easy way for them to sign up for your newsletter. If you have a freebie that you give, like a free short story, a free audio
your
snippet.
mailing list. Send me your mailing list where you got your free your reader magnet just sitting there. Bang, they get your stuff immediately. Done deal.
And depending upon how your welcome sequence is for your newsletter, create one for that conference or convention. Hey, you found me at 20 books. Thanks so much for stopping by. Here's a freebie. Maybe it's something that they only get at the conference. Who knows? But that's the kind of like planning and prep that, can come into play.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. You can create a special landing page just for people who went to the con, make it more personalized.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought about that. That's a good idea.
I had I think the conference that I was looking at in Fort Lauderdale later this year, when I filled out the interest form, one of the questions they asked is, are you going to create swag specifically for this conference? I clicked yes, because if I create like romance specific stickers or swag, yeah, because that's something they can only get there. And if I cater to those attendees, awesome. Maybe I'll get more work. Yeah.
Well, these are all the things you do if you're exhibiting, or if you're going there as an author. If you're exhibiting, you're obviously dealing with the public. Now, what if you're just there to go to the seminars?
That's a trick question.
Is it?
That is, yeah. Because
how is it a trick question?
Because depending upon the type of conference and the topics that are presented and the people who are there, you may be better off networking between the panels and seminars.
Which means you would need the same exact shit if you were going there as an author and wanted to hand stuff out to people. Is basically, if you have that done, you've got it done for both deals. But if you're going there to a seminar or conference to learn, you definitely do want to network between classes.
Or you look for opportunities, or lunch, or you look for those meetups or opportunities around that. The hoodie that I'm wearing now is from the Audiobooks at Sea conference that I was at in May. It was purely learning. But it was also the ability to network with a few who were invited, with casting directors, with more experienced narrators, and for those of us who do dual and duet narration, to chat with people who like narrating the same sorts of things, and to go, can I hit you up for this genre if something comes my way, and you can hit me up? So you're kind of, with all of the stuff that's gone on in narrator world with, skeezy co-narrators and people being jerks, it's nice to meet someone face to face, to meet their spouse, and to have a good conversation that doesn't revolve around books. I mean, one of the people I met, we were trading recipes because during 2020 he was perfecting sourdough bread recipes and pizza crust recipes and muffins and brownies. And I owe him my carrot cake cheesecake recipe. Did we talk about narration? Tiny little bit. But mostly it was about like
Mostly about
cooking
food.
and most of it was cooking and our kids and all these lovely things. So it's a way to get to know people as people. If people know you outside of just what your profession is, they're more likely to work with you because you exist as a whole person and not just that person who does that one thing or who writes that one thing.
Right. Right. And it could be a conversation about computers. It could be a conversation about somebody else's books. It doesn't really matter. Just basically, it doesn't have to all be about shop. It just doesn't have to be. But it's always fun to walk into those conversations where there's a couple of different people talking about the same thing or whatever that you just got out of, or you make a passing remark and then pretty soon they're asking you to sit down at the table and talk to them. Or like the time at Subway at, God, where the fuck was that? At Balticon. Jason Banks asked me a question and I was answering it. And next thing I know, like 4 people came to sit down and to listen. And then some other people came to sit down and listen. And pretty soon I realized I was giving a seminar on writing science fiction with artificial intelligence. It was just one of those funny things where it just happened. It didn't even happen in the con proper. It just happened. It was a great discussion. It was fantastic. And I had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
but shit like that doesn't happen anywhere but at the conferences.
Right. It's the environment invites it. And like one of the best things I saw that at least happened with me at this past 20 books is they have little high top tables in the kind of the lobby area. And I was there, I was standing around, I was talking with a bunch of romance authors. And one of them said, "Oh yeah, my book's releasing tomorrow." And you would have thought that, she had said, "I'm getting a new puppy tomorrow and it's going to be right here," because all of the other people around the table just squealed and clapped and celebrated. It's like, "Oh, well, I want to follow you on Instagram so I know when it comes up. Oh, here's my handle." And so there was like this mass follow on social media where we're all trading handles on, Instagram, and they were doing TikTok and, getting alerts. And, "Oh, where's your newsletter so I can see when it comes out?" And so it was organic because did she ask us? She just said, "Oh yeah, what's happening? Oh, my book's releasing tomorrow. I'm kind of nervous." "Oh, don't be nervous. It's going to be great here." It was just very supportive and uplifting. And not every conference is going to be like that. But when you find those inclusive spaces, be part of it.
Yeah, be part of it. And those, I think I've said this before, the most fun, interesting conversations happen at the bar. Especially at certain cons, which we will not discuss. But BarCon was definitely some crazy shit. Some nutty things happened at BarCon because a bunch of authors were talking and the next thing you know, a series comes out. Or somebody finishes a book, or somebody goes home and writes a book that's madcap based on some idea that they talked at the BarCon. Or you end up mixing it up with somebody, and the next thing you know, they're asking you to collaborate on something.
Yep.
There's a lot of things that happen at those instances, and he says he recommends sobriety. You might miss opportunities. Only if you're a rageful drunk.
Yeah.
I'm a stupid, silly drunk. It's just the way it is. I think. I think.
I have proof.
I understand I can be very entertaining. But basically,
extremely.
Moderation is basically the way to go, and capture those business cards while you can, and do those kinds of things, and don't ever agree to wear a red toga. That's all I'm going to say.
No. And the side to that is if you know someone is going to be there that you've chatted with online, you have a acquaintanceship, there's nothing wrong with saying, "Hey, do you want to meet for a cup of coffee? You want to meet for a drink at such and such time?" I've had authors that I've never met in person go, "Hey, you want to meet for coffee at 10:30 between panels?" Sure. and we hang out and chat, and then we go on to other things. But at least we had that quick connection.
Moderation is for monks. To fully enjoy, you should always take big bites.
Oh my lord! Speaking of big, here you go.
Here comes Chonk.
Yes, I got big chunks. Oh. Hi. You want to be on podcast? Okay.
Nobody wants to talk.
You got
There's
things
lots
to
of things
say.
to say.
Did nobody feed you yet? Oh, okay. What are we gonna do? You're gonna headbutt me, or
All
are you
right,
gonna just
so at
be
least
here?
we have one cat on the show. I would show off Shadow, but he blends in with the chair he's currently sleeping in.
Oh,
Sleeping
don't wake
on.
sleeping kitties. Hi.
Oh, are you kidding? I'll wake him up right now. Little shithead. Anyway, that's beside the point. Kind of slayed this. Man, we stayed on topic for almost 50 minutes. That's amazing, or 30 minutes. That's amazing. How the hell did we do that? And Terry's not here. That's why. That's why, because Terry's not here.
I don't know. Can't blame Terry for that.
I can blame Terry for lots of things. Where's your liquor? Yeah, you guys can at least say you saw a cat today.
Yes, yes.
You did get your cat fix.
You did. Mouthy butt.
Terry off track mixing. Yeah. So here's the question. Who has a terrible con story to tell?
I have interesting con stories.
I have interesting ones too.
Mine generally involve, and I bring
alcohol?
this up. Not
Wait,
on my
that's
part.
me. That's me. So it's self-reporting. Continue.
So it's happened more than a few times, and inevitably, I wind up chatting with someone absolutely lovely who is completely toasted drunk, and conversations are had, and the next morning I get apologies. I'm really sorry, I have no idea what I said. And usually it's fine, because if we've had the conversation, I've probably egged it on, and I will leave the conversation if it gets too weird for me. But it's happened multiple times with multiple people, and I've usually gone, no, we're good, we're fine. Side bit to that, don't be a creep or we will roast you.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty
and much.
I have had those, as
She didn't say it wasn't me, Rick.
Yeah. I am generally very easy to talk to. But just because someone is easy to talk to, if you don't know how to master the art of the graceful exit, learn it, because you never want to corner somebody. And I say this because I'm known to do that. And so that's just for those of us who are neurodivergent. Sometimes we get focused in on a topic and we don't know how to close things out. So that
not know how to disengage.
That skill, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one to learn. And it can be, great chatting with you. I've got to go do this. We're like, fantastic, but I really have to go to the bathroom. I will catch you later. You can, at least from the femme perspective, I can blame my bladder and escape.
I just bought my
Another
phone
good one's
say,
always,
I just realized I have an alert. I have to go to a funeral. It was very lovely talking with you, and I hope to never see you again. That's how you do it.
or if you want to be memorable, sure.
This guy said his money, and he told me to fuck off.
Yeah. So it is challenging, but learning it, and that's a wing person to help you can come in. So
Yes.
but the nice thing is, a lot of these kinds of where you're meeting with like-minded people, so you're dealing with other neurospicy people, We get it. And someone inevitably will go, yeah, I will catch you later, okay? And it might be abrupt, but it's like, oh, the queue is done. We are done. Okay, we go to the next thing.
I hate disengaging conversations. It's like sometimes I'm just like, I really want to be somewhere else talking to somebody else. Will you please shut the fuck up and let me go?
I've had that.
Please
And
release
I've
me.
had.
Let me go.
Mm-hmm.
Because
So
I'm done with this conversation and really don't want to talk to you again. Yeah, those happen every now and
there are
then.
those awkward moments. Mm-hmm.
They're few and far between, luckily. Most people are wonderful at cons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in a lot of cases, everyone's just awkward together.
Yeah, we're all imposters together. Xander says, one trick I do have for a timer, 5 minutes to buzz in my pocket, then I start a conversation, so it keeps me on track for time. So if it goes off twice, then it might be time to disengage. Interesting.
I like that. I like
Huh.
that because it's subtle enough, and you can always go, oh, excuse me, Surgeon, I've got to take care of that. Lovely chatting with you.
I'm vibrating repeatedly.
Damn
I
it,
must go.
Try to work if you've had too much coffee that morning.
Your eyes are like this
colors.
big.
The sound waves, I can see all of them, the entire spectrum, yes.
Yeah, pretty much. I had that one day where I had so much coffee. It was just like I was making coffee in the dark and I put way too much in the French press and didn't notice. Man, when I drank that shit, I was seeing through the universe. I mean, it was like eating spice and Dune. It was just like, whoa. Who's on the Bluetooth end of that vibration?
That's the after dark conversation.
Yeah, that's a completely different thing. It's a completely different thing.
Completely different good vibration.
He says he does it for work often, helps me quickly disengage, but I also can't help but chit chat with the teachers and staff. Yeah. It's rude to not chit chat, but got to get work done, and some of those ladies can talk for a good hour plus.
Yep.
It goes with anybody in an office.
True.
You can sit there and just ignore work and talk for an hour and be on the clock. I know how that works.
Yep.
I know how that works. And you might discuss 5 minutes worth of business. Maybe.
If that.
Well, if you have a question or comment about this crazy show, you can send an email to show@deadrobotsociety.com. You can find me on Mastodon at Paul_E_Cooley at VYRSE.social. You can find us on Facebook at the Dead Robot Society Writing Community, where we mangle all the madness. And I'm having a moment, and I don't know why. And you can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/DRS Podcast, where we are live just about every damn Saturday at 3 p.m. CST. Like and subscribe so you know when we're live. And if you want to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/DRS Podcast and buymeacoffee.com/DRS Podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive live shows like the one that's coming up in 12 minutes. DRS After Dark. Don't miss it. And at the $10 level, you get your name read. And our $10 patrons are Nate Cosby, Antoine Batts, Tony L. Joy, Rick Shaw, Lisa Slack, Isabel Cushy, and Tim Niederreiter. Thank you to all of our patrons for making this show possible. Of course, we have to end with a cat.
He's not Julius, but he has his moments.
Oh, I've never seen him do that before. Oh,
he'll come up and ask for pets, and he's purring. Do I get kisses? Do I? You're not. No, I'm not Dad. Dad'll get kisses.
Please? No kisses from the kitty? Oops, shit.
Oh, you're gonna yell at me.
I got
Somebody
stuff
will
falling
feed
off
you
my
soon.
desk.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's a bad thing. So make sure to go into Discord, if you're on Discord, and yell at Terry for being a slacker and missing the show. Make sure you send him lots of direct messages shaming him for having the gall to be sick and miss the show. So there you go.
That's right.
Because he's a bad, bad man.
Are you going to yell at Terry tonight?
But he's a bad man.
We forgive him. You don't necessarily have to.
Yeah, that's true. We forgive him. Who cares what you think? with that, we are going to get out of here. Have a fantastic rest of your Saturday, and thanks for joining us and making this a fun show as always. Until then,
Yep.
take care of yourselves and bye.